I want to get off. I'm scared. It ain't gonna fly, Hobart. I just know it ain't gonna fly.
It is too gonna fly.
Then you fly it.
I can't fly it. I built it. You're the one that's gonna have all the fun. Don't this look like fun, Billy Joe?
Looks like a whole lot of fun to me, Hobart.
Then you fly, Billy Joe.
I can't fly it. I'm pushing it.
I bet you make it clear over the fence and straight into Paris.
I want to get off. I'm scared. It ain't gonna fly, Hobart!
My name, Hobart Brown. One of my first failures in life, I think, and I can look back on it as a failure or a success, was a wooden airplane that I'd constructed out of 2x4s. And I was sure, it looked like it could fly. I was sure that it would fly. So I had a barn, and I had some friends. So dragging the plane up in the barn, building the rest of it while it was up there, we convinced one of my friends that he should test fly our airplane. Well, he thought it would fly too. He was a little reluctant. But anyway, we finally got him to get in the plane, and then we, you know, those big old barn doors at the top where they load hay, well, we pushed the airplane out of the barn door, and it flew all the way to the ground. It didn't soar over the fence like we thought. When he first stepped into the airplane, we said, it'll be fun, you'll have a great time. It'll fly right over the fence, it'll land over there, and you can tell us all about it when you get done. It's gonna be exciting. And they asked me why I didn't get it. Well, I built it. So, I mean, I had to be up here and help push, and there was other things I had to do. So, anyway, we pushed the airplane out, and it fell directly to the ground. Anyway, the friend of mine, I don't remember his name, but it's probably just as well, too, because he's probably still walking funny. Anyway, it was quite an experience. So from then on, I've had lots of, I guess you could call them failures. I think I'm as successes that needed more work.
It was always about when the sun was setting. And my dad would always say, I can fly. And so what would happen is we'd all sit around the couch, and my dad would always get out, and I was all ready for him to fly. And I was waiting, and with anticipation, I can remember it perfectly, the feeling even. And I even told my dad, okay, do it now, do it now. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, Emily, I can't do it yet.
Better check the wind first, and he'd put his finger out, and he'd say, oh, too windy. And then it would always be some excuse, and so he would always do that, and he would never fly. Needless to say.
I remember one time as a little boy, about 5 or 6 years old, I always had a fantasy for flight or airplanes or anything like that. And we had moved into this new home in the suburbs, and I remember all my buddies and I, we decided, well, let's get this umbrella and try to fly or do whatever with it. I was the pilot, of course, and I climbed up onto the roof, and I leapt off the roof. And consequently, it didn't work at all. I felt like I almost broke both my legs when I hit the ground. I never did it again, but I look back at that experience, and I really think I'm still doing it. I'm still doing crazy things, but I love it. It's my life. It's just my life.
So I jump off this roof, and I'll tell you, both plywood wings were taller than my feet. And when I got down to the ground, I hit these two plywood wings in the ground, and they jutted up into my armpits and totally scraped my armpits. And I was thinking, geez, this could have ripped my arms off. You know, my mom could have come home and seen these two little arms laying there with these plywood boards on them. Where's my son?
Sculpture races makes a lot of people feel like they fly, probably.
Well, my dad always done things further than any father ever knew. So I always just picture whatever my dad says he could do it. And as far as the flying part, definitely, he could. Where'd you get this from?
Hobart Brown is somehow a cross between a cowboy and a wizard. I really firmly believe that. He is absolutely magic. It seems like everywhere he goes, he has this reaction on people that it's kind of like a little glitter that goes along. He has a way of making people feel really good.
If I would have never met the man, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. And it's all his fault, and I love him for that reason.
My machine is a 9.
Saurus and a Stegosaurus.
It has my buck teeth.
It'll have blinking eyes and a moving mouth.
It's got a fully articulating head that I built like a robotic head.
My wrinkles.
It's almost unexplainable.
We tried the Hobart exotic drive system several years, and we've had to kind of write that off.
It has a rotor blade that spins around on the top and wings that go up and down on the side. We call this the evening shoe.
This is a people-powered bus. It's probably going to revolutionize bus driving, because technically, if you really think about it, if this works, when this works, and you see it in the race, you'll see this going, you'll actually have thoughts that go through your mind like, this could be used in downtown New York. Why, we could get rid of all the smog in the big cities by having buses like this. See, we're really working on solving problems.
That's the deep-rooted scientific reasoning behind it, is to move human, I added up our 6 people on the machine. That's 965 pounds of human flesh on this machine. And we're building a 700-pound machine to hold 900 pounds of people. So there's 1,600 pounds. Now, don't get in the way of this thing when we're coming down the road.
These bicycle parts actually, they literally fell into place. It's almost like we built this bus years ago for bicycles. The bus knew it needed bicycle parts. We're the only ones that didn't. So now, in answering the call of the bus, we've put bicycle parts in there. And when I was working on it, I just set them in place. They fell in place. Look at the seat. Seats worked. Everything. Of course, we're going to improve on the seat. But everything worked. Look at that now.
We have discussed doing the Baker's Dozen, which would be a 13-piloted machine.
We wanted to show Hobart that you can build a big machine and still ace the course.
It would be the machine that Hobart always wanted to build, but couldn't make it work.
Well, Grandpa believes it's going to work.
It's gotta work. I've been on it for 4 days and I ain't even gonna push it. It's gonna work.
It has to work. Right, Bob?
Yeah, it should. Basically, we went to a simple system, jet propulsion type. Yeah, might work.
None of them have worked. But they're always a first. Think about it. Waving at people as you go by, watching the scenery, having the stewardess serve you something in your seat.
A friend of mine won a ticket to be on Hobart's machine, and they gave it to me. And that's how I got into the Kinetic sculpture race. That was the week that they had like the 60-mile-an-hour winds. That was my first year, and I was on Hobart's team.
Inside, everybody's this mad desire to stay alive, way down deep, and we depend on that in this race. Thank God we haven't got people who are suicidal. We have a lot of masochists in our group, but not suicidal. We'll test this before we go, won't we, Bob?
He's not a very good engineer, but he's a great artist, and we all have a great deal of respect for him.
I was commissioned to do an unknown soldier for the cemetery, the Ferndale Cemetery. I thought about it for years. I worked and I worried about it, and I couldn't come in. Finally, it dawned on me. If I took the gun, put it in his hands like this, and had an empty uniform where the hat was held up by the bayonet, then I'd have a sculpture that they'd all love. So I did it. I was in Australia, and they loved it. Big guys, fat guys came in. They almost cried. It was an emotional event. I brought it back here, and so far, nobody likes it.
As a piece of art, it's perfect. Hobart does a good job in all his art. But like I said, it's missing a head, and I don't know the reason for the head gone. It would have been better it would have been better with, you know, the head on and the whole works.
Okay, Gary. Now what? Gary, how do you like the sculpture? Your headless horseman?
Face of War.
Face of War. Well, we had mixed reviews on it. Personally, I liked it. I could see a lot of faces in it. But the cast at Palace had mixed emotions. Some people actually said that it was offensive because no face. I don't understand, but that's their opinion, and we'll go with that.
Oh well, it's the life of an artist. I had an uncle once. He was great. He was perfect. He offended no one. He lived a perfect life. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he'd had a perfect life.
That's all right. You take the coconut.
Louise Goff, she wrote a cookbook on how to make candy. And we used to go down there. We'd go down there and we'd watch her making candy, and we'd draw her stirring the bowl, you know, and then we'd draw her doing stuff in the kitchen next to it. She wanted a pot-belly stove in the drawing, and so we put this whole book together, and it was how to make candy. It was called From Toffee to Taffy. From Taffy to Toffee.
I wrote this candy cookbook, and I heard about Dwayne Flatlow, and I got him to illustrate it. And I wanted just a little plump lady with her hair up on her head, but he drew his own style, and it was looked kind of like a witch, I thought.
No, this is my Mad book. This has got some strange things in it. I mean, like this picture here. There's a neat little collage for you. These are where I get a lot of my ideas. I make them, you know, faces from stuff.
I'm Dwayne's mom, Dwayne Flatmore's mom, and we kind of had an idea. When he was little, he was about 3 years old, and he used to sit at the table and make wonderful little sculptures out of mashed potatoes and vegetables. And the chicken bones were all piled up on his plate into little animals, and he'd have his brothers and sisters guess what they were. This is my lost dog photo. I lost my dog. I was given an $850 reward for that. Here's an idea. This is an idea I have for a kinetic sculpture. You just drag the optic nerve behind you on the ground. The whole race goes me, myself, and I. Back in 1991, Yakima Riff Rack Company commissioned me to work on some large-scale murals that would adorn their company headquarters in Arcata, California. And they asked me to do something kind of crazy upstairs, kind of a panoramic view of the globe, showing all kinds of people in the outdoors, recreating in nature, and that's kind of where they gear their company towards, the outdoors. I think it was probably back in 1978. I did a painting, and it was a bit weird. I was inspired by the Victorian houses in town, so I did a drawing of me at a drawing table, and then I had these people coming from the drawing table sinking into the ground, the asphalt, which was a total weird. Why would you put people sinking in the asphalt next to this great picture, you know? And so, but I put it in the show, and Hobart happened to be the juror, and I knew Hobart from the race. He didn't know who I was, but I knew him. And he ended up giving it Best of Show at the fair.
And that's kind of how I met Hobart the first time. I said, hey, you judged my piece, you know. And then when I finally got into the Kinetic race and I was Mr. Pencilhead, you know, he started wondering, who is this guy? And then he realized I was the guy that did the painting. And so we hit it off really good the first time. We both, you know, there's a lot of things that we have in common, me and Hobart. I always feel like I'm a lot like him in a way, and in the way he lives his life and does his art, and the love he has for life, the real zest he has for life.
Ken Beidelman and I live above the Lost Coast Brewery. I put labels on bottles of beer, and I'm a sales rep. I also do all the beer tastings around California. Ken paints signs and does window paintings on their windows outside the brewery. I am definitely an artist, and I think it goes to, I've done a lot of window display, which I absolutely loved. And I worked in San Francisco for a year. I'd go down every 3 weeks. I worked here full-time, run down there on the weekends and do windows for the Familari shoe store. And oh, I just absolutely loved it. It was a dream. And I got I had a key. I'd go in and do whatever I wanted, and I would leave. And then after I met Hobart, he started like talking to me about doing window displays and an easier way to do it. And I kept thinking that I needed to do it a more permanent way, because I would watch him work with metal and realize that it wouldn't come apart. Once you welded it, it was there, and you could build anything. And so I kept watching and watching. After we split up, I kept like going on, and like I bought my welding tanks and my torches myself during that time I was with him. So whenever we get in a fight, I go home and weld. So when I met Ken Beidelman, he started really teaching me how to use a torch and how metals work. And so I love it. It's something that I like doing that more than anything else. And I'm going to build brass shoes. That is my goal, is to be able to weld well enough to build shoes. And I am such a perfectionist when it does come to shoes that I know it'll be just horrible for me if I can't use the techniques in the right way.
Well, June's shoes, that's interesting. She's got so many of them, and it's such a fantasy for her. I mean, she's so involved in it. Sometimes you kind of feel left out because the shoes are so important to her, but I understand that, and I like shoes too.
I love this. These are very old shoes. I collect them. Whenever I find a really cool one, that's what I grab. I can't help it. I love shoes. But I love the old style platforms like these right here. Really cool shoes. The problem with that area though was, or that time was, most of the shoes were brown and black and blue. These are some of the ones that we sold through our shoe store, and they were like $280. This is like, we're talking 12, 14 years ago, but they're all one piece of leather. But they were just gorgeous. We had only 12 of those. And these are all shoes this lady gave me. They were all size 4B. Actually, she passed away and her sons gave them to me. And so I have all these shoes. These shoes have all been in storage now for about 3 years. And so I put them up on chicken wire. I put chicken wire up on my walls, and then I hang all the heels in them. And then that way I can see them all. And a lot of these shoes I can't wear. They don't fit me. But that's okay, because I like them so much.
She wants to do the same thing I can do really well, because I've been doing it for so long, and I can make a shoe perfect. And she just actually kind of hates me for that in a way, because I can do it so well, but it's something that she wants to do. She wants to make shoes. So, and I'll teach her. If that's what she wants, I'll show her how to do it.
The last house that Ken and I lived in was down on the bay, and it was definitely haunted. And all the floors were like curved, and it was kind of like a boat. The man that owned it was the harbor master. He had it built and had 5 daughters. And so, of course, it was large rooms like what we have now. But in order to come into our house, you had to draw a shoe on the wall. And you had to sign it, and your name and everything, and date it. And you could not move anything to draw your shoe. And it it could be anywhere in the house. It didn't matter, but it couldn't be hidden.
I think my favorite one was actually a boot that I drew, and the foot was still in the boot, and it was coming out, and there was like a chopped off leg, and there was a little bone sticking up, you know, little blood spurting out. She didn't like that one.
We had like parties where everybody came and they drew shoes all over the house, and it was wonderful because there were people from all over the world. And they'd come down and they'd see our sculptures sitting out and talk in front, and we'd start talking to them, this big conversation, and they'd end up coming upstairs, and so we'd say, now wait a minute. Because see, that way it made them part of our house, and it was good. It was a real good feeling because they were now part of us. They were part, and we were part of them. They had their artwork in our house, and it was there to stay. We have photographs of all of that. I grew up right over there, out in the Arcata Dairyland. I grew up on a dairy farm out in the middle of that area. It's so beautiful out there. It's awfully windy, though. It's really windy. I'm glad now I live at the brewery, because I can see it. But that's where my parents live now. I was there for 18 years. And people usually don't realize, or they think that I came from somewhere else. I don't understand. Just a dairy farm girl.
I wanted her to get a job and work, prepare for her old age. It gets here fast.
I understand her feeling, and I know that she really does want the best for me. I know that. But it's just not me. I have a job. I have 4. But deep in my heart, I'm just different than she is, and I'm different from my whole entire family. What I've learned from Hobart is to laugh at myself, my downfalls, and to be able to enjoy my good feelings about life, myself, that I am okay the way I am. And that even though I've chosen a different path, it is okay.
I love to create stages that actors can get on. I want to be one of them too. I don't have to be center stage, but I like to be on there. But I really love to see people experience something they wouldn't have done, or be instrumental in them stretching or something. That's very satisfying for me.
Him getting this race going has created a lifestyle for a lot of us, like myself and Dwayne Flatmo and Gene Moxon, and a lot of other people have really, and it's a full-time job, at least for 5 months, 4 months out of the year. I mean, we really take this very seriously. We don't stop. We put in more hours on this than we would on any other job. And it's all for the glory. I do metal sculpture, kind of a lot like Hobart Brown. I do signs and graphics and stuff like that. I'm what you would call a true working artist.
At one time in my life, I incorporated art with film, my art with film. I started doing it. I got me some old movie cameras, and I started doing claymation. And I lived in Redding at the time, and during the summer there was extremely hot. And my characters would shrink. I didn't have the money for a studio setup, so I'd try to do it outside in a natural setting, and my clay would melt. So I went to metal instead. It works. I took one of my sculptures into Hobart's gallery. I never met the man. And it was a Kinetic wing flapping little gadget, and he really liked it, thought it was interesting, and said, well, sure, we'll put some of your stuff in our gallery. So I went back home, got my pieces together, brought my stuff back over to Ferndale, and left them in his gallery. And he said, have you ever thought about being in the Kinetic sculpture race? I thought about it, and I went, yeah, maybe I would like to be involved somewhat. So that was actually the first year I got involved, and my art, myself, not knowing him, brought me to him, and he got me involved.
It was funny, my mom was going through a bunch of old things that we used to have when we were living at home, and she went through all this stuff that we used to have in our rooms, and she had bought these funky little wood grain pictures just to hang in our rooms when we were kids. And my brother had one, I think it was a fireman, and my other brother had one of a little kid on a rocking horse. And mine, she gave this to me, and I went, you're kidding, this was hanging in my room? And I thought, there's a little bit of a little, you know, cosmic thing here. Here I am, a space cadet, you know, with this, writing this contraption. And that's exactly what what I'm doing now, you know, real spacey stuff with, you know, kinetic sculptures. So I thought that was a really neat alignment there, seeing that. I hung it in my shop, you know, where it should be. I always think of us like spreading the kinetic gospel. Whenever we go somewhere, we talk about kinetics, and we inspire people and get them excited. And we're always trying to get people in the race, and we're always trying to, you know, it's just neat. You know, everywhere we go, we start to talk about the race, and then they say, oh yeah, I heard something about that. And then we introduce them to you know, Hobart, or we get the phone number of Hobart, call Hobart and get some information on it. And we're always looking for people who are into the same thing as us, but just don't know that the race is going on.
I've always been in contests. In fact, we formed the Ferndale Academy of Motion Picture Arts Field Arts Award Contest. Can't think of the whole title. But anyway, what we did was we built a film, which was a 16mm classroom film, which didn't turn out all that great. But anyway, it was bad enough. It was just that far from greatness. But anyway, so we had a contest. We knew we probably weren't going to get a call from the Oscars or any of that sort of thing. So we decided, well, we would have our own contest, and we'd have our own awards, which we would actually give to the actors, whoever was in there, plus a few people that weren't in there. Anyway, so we made these Hobie Awards, and so we had this big Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science Gala event here on this stage. And we had the best performance and probably put on the best thing Humboldt County's ever seen. And we gave ourselves an award, and we invited Dr. Peter from the Peter Principle, who wrote the Peter Principle. He came out. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. Had the Navy color guard here. It was big. We were big. We were just a little ways from what they do down in Hollywood, but we were great. Another contest I've been involved in was one day I got a phone call, and they were having an ice cream eating contest, and the radio station that was chosen to be in the contest were friends of mine, and they knew I liked ice cream. So they were all overweight, and I think they were sensitive about that, so they asked me to go in and eat ice cream for them. So I did, and I had no intention of winning. In fact, I always have trouble in competitions where I'm supposed to win. Anyway, so there I was eating ice cream, and I was doing great. And I love banana nut. I just love banana nut. Anyway, got a little sweet, so I switched to vanilla. But anyway, my friend, finally all the other people had faded out in the contest. There were other media people there. And they had all faded away, and I was down to just the two of us. And this friend of mine, who was at another radio station, he was eating all kinds of ice cream, you know, like he had root beer, he had all the different flavors. And finally, he chose licorice. And when he got licorice, I knew I'd won. Even without trying, I knew I'd won. Anyway, he tried it. Ate the licorice, threw up, I won the contest. And then that took me on to another contest where I ate 108 ounces of ice cream, which was different. I didn't even have room for a cup of coffee afterwards. So then this catapulted me into greatness, and I was on Watch My Line in New York. And at no time did I ever really want to get in this competition. Here I was on my way to New York.
Dwayne, could you be on a flight tomorrow night at 5 o'clock for New York? And I said, yeah, no problem. And they said, well, we'll call you tomorrow morning because we're not really sure we're going to use you yet. So we'll call you in the morning. We're either going to tell you, you know, Express Mail's going to be there at 10 o'clock with your tickets, or you're not coming. So here I have to go through a whole night thinking, well, how am I going to do this? And I had a list of 50 people I wanted Mickey to call the minute I knew I was on the show.
And, you know, because even when I went out there, they flew me out there overnight, and I had to come back like the next day. I had to fly back. And I didn't even know them because they sent 5 people out there. They were only going to use 3 of us. So we all got up and did our audition to the producers and stuff. And the one guy who didn't make it, he stuck Yahoo chocolate soda bottles in his belly button, and he'd turn the caps off with his belly button. And so he didn't quite make it on his show, and I knew he felt really bad. But when they came back in and said I was on, I went, yeah, it was great, really great.
The biggest race, the biggest contest I've ever come up with was the Kinetic sculpture race. And that all started with a bicycle I made for my son. I was fixing it, not making it, but I fixed the bicycle. He used to leave it out in front of the art gallery. I took it upstairs and thought I'll turn it into a work of art. And I started working one night, and pretty soon the sun came up, and I'd worked all night long, and no longer was it a tricycle. It had a roof, it had headlights, it had gears, it had fans. In other words, it was no longer anything like a tricycle, a seat for myself. So I hid the tricycle for quite a while, and then finally one day I was feeling brave, and I showed it to somebody. It was photographed with my friend Don Clausen, the congressman, on it, and the photograph went UPI, and then we had this piece of artwork, which I was accepting now, not ashamed of, and my friend Jack Mays came by, and he saw it, he liked it. He said he was going to go home and build a bigger, better one, and so he did, and we had 2, so therefore we had a contest. We had a race. Anytime you have 2 things, you're going to have a race. So we had, I think it was 5 other artists that got involved too. So we had 7 machines that raced down Main Street, 1 block, all started with this little tricycle. The 1-block race was great. However, it had developed and got longer, and now it's a 38-mile race, and it goes over mud, sand, bay, river water, sloughs, highways. In other words, it includes a little bit of everything. So the sculpture race, the Kinetic sculpture race now has grown, and it's been going on now for so many years. This is our 25th anniversary coming up, our silver anniversary coming up this year. But actually, that race just starting from 1 block down Main Street with such roaring success and such roaring attention now has spread out through 38 miles, and now we're known all over the world for our little old race, which started with my little bitty son's tricycle.
I'm a hobby 55-year-old triathlete. It's probably got 30 triathlons, Ironman distance, half Ironman distance. And this said the triathlon of the art world. I ain't ever been in a race until I got in this.
There you go. Want some of this?
Yeah, okay.
Pull!
1, 2, 3.
Let's wait till everybody gets
Man.
retake.
Kurt.
You're gonna get run over. Here it's coming.
Somebody can bring over help.
You're right, yeah.
If you look at the ground, it seems like it's going by faster rather than looking up.
I hope so.
We're really rolling, and when we go in the water now, you're going to see our propeller system, which hasn't been tested yet, but we've got a real good feeling about it. Anyway, this is wonderful. The bus actually worked. We had a little trouble in the bay. Not bad. But anyway, here we got to roll into town, as you saw us. Now we're probably going to take on commercial, regular commercial bus service. So you can expect us from Arcata to Ferndale now pretty frequently.
We went across country on our Kinetic sculpture, pedaling from Ferndale, California to St. Augustine, Florida. We left June 18th of 1989 and went 4,012 miles, pulling 2,160 pounds. It was Ken Beidelman, myself, June Moxon, and our scratching, itching, licking, biting, snorting black and white cow dog. We call her Scratch for short. But she went all the way with us too.
We had nothing. We had no running water. We had no showers. We had no cook stove. We used a little barbecue almost 90% of the time to cook on, or an open pit or whatever. And to most people that seemed so destitute. But to us, it really wasn't. It was easy. Life was easy when it was so simple. We found that to keep from being offensive to them, who were the hard-working Americana people, that what was acceptable to them was that we were setting a world record, and that made it okay, because we were in pursuit of a dream, and we were doing it for a reason, not just for fun, because they couldn't accept doing it for fun.
And if we had $1 for every time somebody said, "Oh, I wish I could go with you," we would have been rich. I mean, it was amazing how many people said that. And they'd take us aside and they'd say that. It's like, God, you're so lucky. It was a changing event or a changing adventure every single time we stopped. We'd come to a town, and usually people already knew about us because the camera crew had found us, or the newspaper, or just from people passing us on the road. And so everybody knew, and they felt like they all knew us. And so we'd get there, and it'd be like, "Wow, you're here, and it was the one thing you could do where everybody was really happy to see you. And how many times can you do that in your life, where everybody's completely delighted to see you? Ken, B-E-I-D-L-E-M-A-N.
Yeah, what was your name again?
Huh?
What was your name again?
Bill Steele.
Bill Steele.
What's the dog's name?
Scratch and itch and lick and
Huh?
bite. Scratch and itch and lick and bite and snort, black and white cow dog.
Black and white cow dog.
Scratch. We just call her Scratch.
Scratch for short.
Okay. That is all right. Well, I've never seen rigs like that, and I know nobody else has either. This lady come in, she was just terrible upset. She just, it's a funny contraption that looks like it's been wrecked. Well, I'll go look and see.
Well, thank you very much
But
for
it's
checking
fine.
on us.
Y'all have a good trip.
All right, thank you.
Clear back in Idaho, we had talked about what is the worst thing that could happen to us, and that was that Ken would break his leg. And so at that time, we had like worked everything out pretty much already, and maybe we brought it on ourselves, but we had kind of forgotten until it happened, and then it kind of just like everything worked. And it was fine, it was okay. It was like we knew what to expect, and we kind of just went with it. What else you gonna do? We had to finish.
The only way we could figure out to finish it up was, since my left leg was hanging in a sling and in a cast, we hooked up a strap around my right foot so I could pedal with one arm and one leg. And that worked pretty good. So, in fact, it worked so well that we decided to hook June's arms up also. And probably within 3 weeks, we were back to our mileage that we were getting normally before I broke my leg.
Well, and talk about a workout. It's like we were pedaling and pulling like this for 6 to 8 hours a day. It was, when we took off, it was basically devastating. We were doing, the first day we went 4 miles.
Feel like a little engine that could.
I think he's doing it, my God, with the cast on. He did it all by himself. There it is, from there to there.
Yeah, this body here is actually the one that June rode all the way across America in. And this is what we call the poor man's carbon fiber. And we actually take paper towels and carpenter's glue and put it over a chicken wire armature and just glue this all down. After it dries, we paint it with plain old latex exterior house paint. And it has withheld the wind, the rain, the sun, snow, hail, just about any kind of bad weather you can think of, and it's still in one piece. It's amazing.
I'm scared. It's really scary out there. There must be winds 100 miles an hour. Scratch is scared. There's even a tree up there trying to invade us. It came into the barrel. Scary. Really scary.
Looking good, kid.
1 mile to go.
1 mile.
Hobie, it's beautiful here. I'm so glad I know about low standards. We're just not sure how low is low. Love, June, Ken, and Scratch. Hobart, wish you were here, riding in the back with all the other precious stuff we brought along. We lightened our load by about 100 pounds. Everybody is waving and wishing us luck. It's really incredible. This is it. while we were gone on our trip across America, we didn't see his illness, which is rheumatoid arthritis, getting worse and worse. So when we got back, it was a complete shock. Every year we see it. We see it get harder and harder for him, let alone being able to walk. His toes are all deformed. His hands are completely deformed. I don't know how he does it. The man has an incredible courage that I've never seen in anyone. He's incredible. I know he wants to race so badly because it's part of a team. It's part of everything that he's worked towards. And, but we see him walking along, and there's a few of us that know how difficult that has to be for him. We watch him go up and down the stairs, and he's in pain all the time. He's got just this incredible sense of humor and courage. It takes him through it. And I'm sure it's a personal test for him, because every year, as long as he can keep doing that in his own mind, he's probably still okay, is what he's thinking. We've been trying to talk him into just going in certain areas of the race for years. And it's just a personal thing for him. It's his own personal test. And he's still doing it.
It sounds weird, and I know a lot of people think I'm saying this because I have it, but it really has been a blessing to me. I think of it as really as an advantage to me over other people in a lot of ways, because life is full of experiences, and I get to have this experience. And so, in a way, my work, like I said, I've had to learn new ways, build new tools, extensions, and so forth. But I've also, it really has, it's forced me at 59, it's forced me to slow down where I might have been 70 or 80 or something like that, but I still feel clear about what I'm doing. So now I just do things different, and I come up with better and I think greater things because of the arthritis. In fact, it's been a real vehicle because I get to talk to doctors and other people about attitudes and say, hey, you know, life's just how you look at it. It's just an attitude. You can say it's bad or you can say it's good. That's up to you. Want a bad life? See everything's bad. Want a good life? See everything's good. So I see arthritis as a real plus. And also, I get to park in those special places for cripples. Oh, incidentally, I want to say that about cripple. I don't want to be called handicapped. I want to be called crippled. It hurt getting here. I want full credit.
He went to the doctor, and they told him that he had approximately 1 year, and his joints would be gone. And he can get an operation, but the operation will cost him $25,000, which he doesn't have.
These windows were broken out during the earthquake, and we've milked it. We haven't milked it for all it's worth yet. We're going to put a little slot here, and it's going to say Hobart Bank, night deposit. Your money will be accepted cheerfully, and so on. But anyway, and also another thing about the earthquake is my hands. They were straight before the earthquake. I'm going for federal money.
If I had it, I would give it to him. I just can't believe that this man is going to lose his life, which is basically, that's what's going to happen. It's going to lose his life. If he can't work as an artist, besides the fact that he has no other income, he has no other income, but it will be gone. I don't know what's going to happen.
I love him a lot, but I love him different. And he knows it. We all love him. And he's just a very good person. He's good for all of us.
We've got something special. I think we transcended this life. And it really feels good to share. So I think we transcended, and I think we share it. And we just know something.
Well, I knew a man named Hobart. And he started this wacky race. But I always got so sick to my stomach. Cheating. Every time I saw his face. Yeah, sing it to me, brother.
I want to thank you there, Dwayne.
Sounded good.
Made my eyes puddle up, Dwayne. There's a lot of people that go to that race, and I symbolize something to them. I don't know what it is. And I'm just going to cut out for a year, and then I'll be back again. I'll do something to participate, but I don't want to let those people down because that means something to them. If they just, I mean, it means something to me, too. Selfishly, I just love that. I mean, I'm just filled with the rush that you get from the crowd and their acceptance, their approval is just overwhelming. And I realize that I offer them a doorway to freedom or something, or another way of thinking. I don't know what it is. I know it's important to both of us, and so for that, I'm sorry I'm not going to be involved. However, though, Ken and June and all the other racers offer that too. So I'll miss a year, but I'll be back next year.
You know, a color pattern on the yellow.
Maybe this little design here will cut. You can cut one out, and then you can turn it over like this.
Yeah, and
kind of do this all the way around.
It'll be somewhat the same, but somewhat different.
Right. Okay.
So I need to do is come up with one good one.
Go for it.
Fly and be free.
My machine is a sparkling, shimmering, dancing fly.
Either an armadillo, a lobster, or a crawfish.
We're all totally disconnected this year, not like the iguana.
The lips move and talk and go up and down.
You've got legs that come out. You've got a tail that whips up and down.
Beaks that move.
You've got the pinchers that are out there.
I have all the feet moving, and of course they have shoes on them.
Every duck will have a little different sound.
And then they can go like this, and the wings flutter.
You've got the mouth, which this is going to actually, I still need to be able to build a stop in here, but that'll be about like that.
We call this El Flyra the Flysicle. So we're going to sing a little song. It's the Flysicle. I want to ride my bicycle.
So we're all going to have these little teeny top hats. We bought these little top hats on top, you know.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, then look at this.
We're here again, home.
Oh, God. Is this a part of the shoe machine or something?
This is the cross-country machine.
Oh, the one you went across country?
Yeah, so I know it works.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I do know how to ride it.
Yeah. To fit all your dents and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, isn't it cool? Plus.
God, that is nice.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Thank you, Home.
It seems like there's a
highway
great
patrol there.
excitement this year, like it used to be. I mean, it's more people.
Maybe it's because I'm not
more
in it.
volunteers. The neat thing is we'll have this big thing at the tail end waiting for us. Okay, where's Hobart coming in? It's dark. Let's go home.
That's it. Now everybody else is going to get a little glory. One more year.
Next year, you're going to do something hot.
Yeah, no, we are. It's going to be a big one.
Hey, yeah, there's these two bicyclists that are like racers, and they're going to a race. They're from
shop events, fitness sure do feel fine.
Technically, the manifold of the Cosmo Watchet will hold the thing permanently perpendicular to the Cosmo rotor.
It's almost time to push him out the barn door.
We're the Tough Old Birds. Tough Old Birds. And this is his 5th year and my 4th year at racing. We were absolutely thrilled when our son went cross country. And they went to Florida, and they carried water from here, dumped it in the ocean in Florida. And then when they got to Texas, they needed a tow, so we went to Texas and picked them up and brought them back to California.
Okay, sobriety test. Stand up straight, put your arms to your side, close your eyes, hands out to your side. Okay, left forefinger to the right nostril, go. No, one more try, otherwise you go to the end of the line.
Oh, get her, get her!
Wow, that's cool. All right, emergency exit. Sobriety test. Feet together, arms out to your side. Okay, point your fingers, eyes closed. Wait a minute. Sunglasses off. All right, trying to cheat right away. Okay. Point your fingers, close your eyes. Right forefinger to your nose, go.
One of the things we really need to do is get the officials on our side. So we've made some pins especially representing our steelhead machine, and we're bribing the officials whenever and wherever we can.
We're the art judges, and we take bribes. We do. It's very important. Very important to take bribes. The bigger the bribe, the better the points. And we judge on kinetic thrills, costumes, original design, color, humor, theatrics, and glory, of course. But especially bribes.
I want to make sure that some of the younger pilots, etc., know where to go this year, and they know where all the important timing positions are. You know, things like checkpoints and time ins, times outs, stuff like that.
Teddy bear, let me see the teddy bear.
It's under there.
All right.
We have teddy bear technology.
Who gave you the sobriety test? Jerry?
I touched his nose with my finger.
All right, very good.
I do just like you said. I get out the same way, and I get out. I climb over the seat, walk back.
She gets out
and,
hard.
Yeah.
Hard?
Yeah. No, not too bad. What?
See you later.
It sure got heavy.
I got a fly in my hair.
You must be touching the
Hold on. I think it's going to be real brutal. The winds are picking up. It's going to be straight in our face, and I'm sure we're going to get wet. I'm almost positive because my ankle hurts.
does to you.
Step down. Ready? Off power. I'm off power. Let it roll. I jumped my jack shaft.
Okay, we hear you. Down scope. Just do this smart, folks. I'll do it gears.
Mikey, come here. I got it. The right one. That's the middle one.
It's
unlocked.
Back.
Smooth and steady. Let's just work these around.
But we can do it with them.
Is there anything to drink?
No, let's adjust this one a little bit. Throw front treads by front wheels.
Okay, forward a little bit, please. Can't wait for the track all day.
Where's our pit crew? Right on.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah.
All right, down to the end is the timer, okay?
Get your machine ready to go.
Okay, we're snagging here. If I lift this up right here.
Wait. Oh, man. I think we're going to have to put on these out here.
Say hi, Jenny. What else you need, sweetheart?
How about a new life?
Oh no, you've been having so much fun at this one for years. Come on, June, it's just like the Rockies. It's just like the Rockies, okay?
Gear up and roll real good. Dead man strike. Over the top. Dead man strike. Over the top. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, we're clear. All right, guys. All right, we did it. Okay, shift. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yeah. All right.
Come on.
You guys see a bunch of lame ducks? Anybody see any lame ducks? Yeah, you're kidding. You're about a half hour ahead of you. Oh, they're not too lame, I guess. You're going better up the hill than they were. Okay, are we ready to try this? It looked like we dug deep into the ground. Okay, real slowly, we gotta take off. Okay, here we go. Ready? Set, go. Jeez, I've never seen it do this. Is the front wheel doing something weird? No.
You guys better in deep sand or hard sand? There we go.
Who knows?
It's deep
Wait, if you
here,
guys
hard
can,
there.
get over
Okay,
into
we'll
this
get over
stuff.
to that left.
Yeah,
That's where the people that had the big balloon tires did real good.
We're going.
If we die, spread our ashes over the 8 people who've gone before us.
If you pedal the whole way without pushing your machine, then you're an ace.
Gotta stop here.
Do the stop, guys. I'm dead on my feet, but I'm still acing it. My free will is giving out, and I feel like I'm gonna throw up. But it's still working. For the glory!
For the glory!
All right, let's get our food and get on the road.
We deserve a break today. You guys waiting in line?
I can't do this without my ascot on. See you down at the club.
The race so far has gone really well for us. At the end of the first day, we're 3 minutes ahead of the reigning champions that have won for the last, I hear, 8 years.
That bay and those dunes on the other side can change everything either way. It's anybody's race.
We've been on tour checking out the whole United States for about 2 months now and came into Arcata to look at the Yakima factory because we used to sell their product. And they took us over to their Kinetics laboratory where they build these fine machines, and we got hooked. We weren't going to be here for the race, and then we turned into spectators, and then all of a sudden we turned into racers. When we told Dwayne Flatmo, who designed the machine that I'm riding, that we were going to be staying, he immediately turned around and called his wife, Mickey, on the phone and said, "We've got a couple of guys here who need a machine," and she was really, really nice, and she said that we could race it with no problem. The machine itself is a grand champion from 2 years ago. She aced it, and she was the overall winner, I believe. So she's really thrilled with how we're doing right now.
They're only 3 minutes ahead of us.
Hey, chili peppers weren't meant to do, fast. I mean, they weren't fast.
Yeah, swans are.
Yeah. Nothing like it.
Oh my God, I got carried away and I could just feel all my energy going. And I was just like, I was starting to get real dizzy and I thought I was going to throw up.
Over the smaller bridge?
Yeah, and that was where the police were giving us an escort. And you know how tired we got all the time there. And I just couldn't, I really thought I was going to throw up. And so I kept drinking lots of water and I couldn't even eat a candy bar or anything. I just couldn't, get it down. Yeah. What happened is this really cute guy came along, started talking to us, and I forgot all about that I was sick.
You were so busy being charming.
I was.
That's just perfect.
You know how that works. It solved the whole problem.
I get a lot of kids from the neighborhood that come over and they want to see what Dwayne's working on now. And I've always been really good to, include the kids. If they want to help on the sculpture, include them in, and then paint their name on the machine. If you can inspire a couple kids here and there and make them realize that not all adults are serious. Some adults actually, still carry on their childhood fantasies and still do them now. And it doesn't have to have a monetary gain. It doesn't have to be something that's going to be serious. It can be something that just brings happiness to people.
your heart just is full. I mean, it's the best thing in your life.
It is a way of life for us, and I think it's a real good one. It's a feeling of accomplishment. It is the best thing of deep in your heart, knowing you did something that you weren't sure if you could do or not, and accomplishing that. That's what glory is to me.
Next year. I'm gonna have to forget a lot of things before I decide to do this again.
That BEMA just really got us sticking into those heads like that. Actually, we could do something. We just tapped in. Did you guys notice though that as the sand picked up on that mud, we got a lot taller? Yeah. I mean, we did get taller.
You know, we had a bark fire.
We did.
I think I'm really most upset with the disorganization of the organization. You know, my own personal endeavor here is one thing, but the race as a whole is another, and I've worked really hard at getting the engineering judging crew together. Only to have Hobart pull the rug out from under my head man and assign it to somebody he liked halfway through the process, and all the judges went with the outgoing head judge. So now we're left with some of the worst engineering judging I've seen in recent years. Turn down this way.
Is that where you put the belt on it? Yes. Let's see, I didn't want to get mine dirty.
Well, if I were you, Jen, I'd ask for your money back.
Really? I'd say it wasn't worth $1. Maybe 99 cents.
So all I'm asking for is a nickel back.
Okay, I'll give you a nickel back.
Driver number 2.
Thank you.
You get more efficiency that way too, less bend to the chain. Okay.
Darlin's tracks over here.
Okay, straighten her out now. Too much. Straighten her up. Hold her right there.
Come on over.
Okay, this is a checkpoint.
Come on, Ducky! But now see the U.F.O, he's starting to hit a current right now going that way, and all of a sudden you go this way and then another one.
Look at the spacecraft. Look at that spacecraft. They have to go all the way. You guys get all the way over to the right.
Yeah, you had to do that. You had to get that way before you started across, because then, you know.
I'm from Los Angeles. I don't ever see things like this in Los Angeles.
Never.
Never, ever. No, no.
Yeah. Okay, let go. We're flying now.
Quick break.
Wheel to the right. Go straight, left, left.
Gotta get your speed up. Yeah. Come out. Timer. Emma!
Whoa.
Push! Push! Hang on to that so don't come. Keep your hands out.
I'm from Sunny Bay Middle School, and my sculpture is the Carrot Chariot, and we're gonna have a little secret on our sculpture when we ride into Ferndale. Our special surprise that we have planned is that we're gonna have Hobart Brown ride on our sculpture into the finish line into Ferndale. He should be part of the race this year. He's not being part of it, and we really wanted him to be, so we thought it would be good if he could ride on our sculpture with us and be part of our group, part of the Carrot Chariot.
Greetings. There you go, sir.
I'd like to thank all the little people.
Wait, I think that might be mine.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot. They found something.
is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Even more than the Rockies. But we made it. And we aced sliding slow.
This is a great dream. Look at all the funny looking boats out there.
And everything just started falling.
You're okay. You built a great machine. I even wrote it.
I want to thank my pit crew, Adrian, wherever he is. There he is. He helped me get across the beach yesterday.
Are you kidding? This is incredible.
This is a Rambler. This is our coveted award for the mediocre prize, the center of the pack. Neither extreme. It's not the fastest, not the slowest, but the one that wins the sculpture race dead center will drive this little baby home. We can get it started.